So let's discuss this. I said that Rabbi Akiva had connections to many people and traveling all over the world, recruiting people, and probably also converting people. And I also want to talk more about the cause of saying that is exaggerated. So we find this about Rabbi Akiva and saying converts. First, we have this. The Maharsha says, Maharsha wrote commentary on the Talmud. He lived in the 16th century. He says, כי דמוכח פרק in Shabbat, לרבי עקיבא אמר, אתה עקיבא בן יוסף, גר צדק, מבני בניו של סיסרא, כמותך ירבו בישראל. The Maharsha quotes that the rabbi, one of the Hachamim, it's Rabbi Dosa ben Arkinas, told Rabbi Akiva, you are Akiva ben Yosef, you're the convert, you're the famous convert, and you're a descendant of Sisera. May there be many like you in Israel. Now, the interesting thing is that later commentators look at the Maharsha and says, where did he take it from? It's not in the Gemara. The Gemara doesn't say that Rabbi Akiva was a ger. Rabbi Moshe ben Maimon Rambam says, and based on him Sefer Yohasin also says that Rabbi Akiva ben Yosef קיבל מרבי אליעזר הגדול, ויוסף אביו גר צדק היה. According to the Rambam, Rabbi Akiva was the son of a ger. And even that is not written in the Gemara. The Gemara does say that מבני בניו של סיסרא, the descendants of Sisra. No, they say that it came from Sisra. It was a Canaani. There is a confusion. Could be that this also exists, but the Bnei Banav Shel Sisra limdu b'Torah, and who are those? It's Rabbi Akiva. So we have first sources that somehow say that Rabbi Akiva is a descendant of converts. Then, with the original story in the Gemara where the great rabbi Rabbi Dosa talks to Rabbi Akiva and praises him, it says the following: They came to ask, a couple of Hachamim came to ask Rabbi Dosa, who was older, about a certain halakha that had to do with marriage. So they come in, and he recognizes all of them, and he said, please sit down. And Rabbi Akiva, he did not recognize. So Rabbi Akiva remained standing. Amru lo, so the other scholars told Rabbi Dosa, Rabbi, emor letalmidcha her v'yeshev. There's another talmid here, it's very hashuv, very important. Tell him to sit down. Amar lahem, umiu, I don't know him, I don't recognize him. Amru lo, Akiva ben Yosef, this is Akiva ben Rabbi Akiva. Amar lo, ata hu Akiva ben Yosef, ששמך הולך מסוף העולם ועד סופו, שב בן ישב, כמותך ירבו בישראל. This is the original story. It doesn't say that Rabbi Akiva is a ger, but it says, sit. May there be many like you in Am Israel. Listen to this. Maybe many more like you in Am Israel. Why is he using this phrase? So then they ask Rabbi Dosa about this halakha. התחילו מסבבים אותו בהלכות. They ask him many different questions. Until they got to this law of marriage that they wanted to confirm. He says, this is the halakha that you've heard, but not from me, from my brother. But then he says, I testify that I heard 3 halachot. And he says, the halakha that they asked him about, tzarat abat, about marriage, he answers that. Another halakha that they didn't ask him about. And the third halakha, מקבלין גרים מן הקרדויין ומן התרמודים. Says you could accept converts from the people who live in a certain place in Tarmod. Some say it's the Syrian desert where now Palmyra is, in Kardo, which is not clear where exactly is. Maybe Asia Minor. And Rabbi Dosa, without being asked, provides this information to Rabbi Akiva, right? He says, you can accept converts from these nations. I didn't ask you about that. Why are you saying that? Why is he telling him, Kemutcha yirbu b'Yisrael? May there be many more like you in Israel. If we assume that Rabbi Akiva was on a mission to convert people to join the army, he says what you're doing is okay. Yeah, go to the Karduyin and the Talmudin. V'kemotcha yirbu b'Yisrael, may we have many more like you in Am Yisrael. Now look at this. There are little things like you asked Sammy that attest to that. Sefer Yohasin, which speaks about the history of the Hachamim, brings this. B'Gemara yesh keti'a bar shalom ger tzedek shenatan mamono leRabbi Akiva v'chaverav. There was a convert by the name of Keti'a bar Shalom who argued with the Romans about a certain thing, and he, when he died or was executed by the Romans, he bequeathed all of his possessions to Rabbi Akiva. Interesting. Why Rabbi Akiva? And it says, "Lakaha haitzi Rabbi Akiva v'haitzi talmidav." Half the money went to Rabbi Akiva, and half to his students. Now Rabbi Akiva is not greedy. He lived a very simple life. What this says, that we have a ger tzedek that gives money to Rabbi Akiva, so we can say that he is supporting the military campaign, and the Talmidim are the soldiers. And he was a minister, was a senator actually, and he converted to Judaism. Now this is supported by historical sources that say that from the Hurban, even before the Hurban, but after the Hurban, after the destruction, for about 100 years, if not more, there was a massive movement of proselytization, meaning the Jews would convert non-Jews, and at one point scholars estimate that the number of Jews in the Roman Empire was between 2 to 10%. The Roman Empire and the known world. It's a very high percentage. But later on, two factors changed it. One, the Romans went very strongly against any conversions to Judaism or to Christianity, and then the Christians started converting. But Rabbi Akiva was doing that. So we already saw that. They say about Rabbi Akiva that he's a descendant of Gerim, of converts. When he talks to the rabbi provides volunteers. This is halakha with Gerim. Then we have this amazing story in the Gemara of Rabbi Akiva ra'a eshet Turnus Rufus HaRasha. Rabbi Akiva encountered the wife of Turnus Rufus. Turnus Rufus is the name that the Gemara gave to Tyrannus Rufus, who was the Roman commander, was in charge of fighting the rebels in Israel. So he sees his wife, Rak, Sahak, Ubacha. He spat, he laughed and cried. So they say, why did he do all that? He spat because there's ba'a mitipas sruha, to say all humans are created from nothing, from it was called a dirty drop of liquid, tipas sruha, right? Meaning that she was very beautiful, but he was not taken aback by that. He says, I don't care, because fine. Sahak de'atida de'megaira v'nasivla ubacha de'ay shufra bale afra. He cried because he knew that this beauty is going to be eventually to go to dust, evaporate. But why did he laugh? De'atida de'megaira v'nasivla. He knew that he's going to convert her and marry her. So all these stories, it's a strange stories, right? But they all point to one thing, that Rabbi Akiva had either himself or his father or his somehow he had this strain in him, and maybe that's why he was more willing to fight the Romans. He felt less subdued to them because he had this knowledge of other cultures. That's why he was able to travel, maybe and blend, because he knew the languages, and he was able to travel like that. And he definitely recruited a lot of people through conversion. Now we also see that in halakha, two halachot that he provided that are I would say weird almost to people today. One is this: Amar ben Yasyan, כשהלכתי לקרחי הים, מצאתי גר אחד שנשא אשת אחיו מאמו. Ben Yasian, which already by the name Yasian or Yason is a Greek name. He says, when I traveled to the islands, he speaks about the Greek islands, like Cyprus and Crete and other places where Jews lived, and Kyrene. Says he found a convert who married his sister-in-law. Eshet achiv me'imo. He's not allowed to marry his right. Amarti lo bni man hirshach. Who gave you permission to do that? Amar li harei isha v'shiv'a banea. Like here says, like my wife and the 7 children, like it's a kosher family. Al safsal ze yashav Rabbi Akiva ve'amar shnei dvarim ger noseh eshet achiv me'imo. Says Rabbi Akiva was sitting here and he says a convert could do that, meaning that Rabbi Akiva not only is converting people, but he's making sure that they could get married and have children. And probably when he was facing this conversion, someone says, "Wait a second, but if I convert, who's going to marry me?" He says, "What about this woman? No, but she's my sister-in-law. His brother died." He said, "Okay, you can marry her. It's okay." He found ways in the halakha. I'm not saying that. What is the basis in the halakha? The basis is that a convert is like a newborn baby, has no relatives, so they can technically marry their relatives. But the Rabbi said, don't do that because it doesn't look good. But Rabbi Akiva said, okay. Then we have another halakha. And this is the halakha today is that a kohen cannot marry a convert. Did you know that a kohen cannot marry a convert woman? Right. And actually, there are a lot of people that are in great trouble because of that. Because they fell in love with a convert and they're a kohen. Why wouldn't they be able to marry a convert? And this is a very disturbing concept. Because
or divorcee either.
Divorcee is different, but divorcee the Torah says. The Torah says clearly you cannot marry grusha. But the Torah doesn't say that a kohen cannot marry a convert. What the Torah does say is isha zona v'halala lo yikahu. He cannot marry a harlot or a prostitute. Lo yikahu.
What's halala?
Halala, someone who's a kehuna, that the father married someone who's not he's not eligible to marry. That the marriage was flawed, like just like a mamzer, the same concept of mamzer. So isha zona v'halala. So what is zona? That the pshat of the pasuk anywhere in the Torah, zona is a harlot
with money,
right? But Hachamim say, "V'Hachamim אומרים אין זונה אלא גיורת ומשוחררת ושנבעלה בעילת זנות." So the first label they put zona on is a convert. It says any woman who converted older than 3 years old, we put this label on her. Where did they take it from? Also, they say meshuhreret, a woman who was a maid servant and was freed, is considered that. Rabbi Akiva, there are 2 other opinions, but Rabbi Akiva says zona zo mufkeret. Like you said, a woman who is a professional prostitute, or a woman who is promiscuous and she doesn't have a steady connection with anyone, but she's with everyone. That is not a woman who could marry a kohen. Rabbi Akiva disagrees with the rabbis. And there you have like a major mahloka between them. The rabbis want to say they invent a concept that is not in the pasuk in order to block the kohanim from marrying their freed slaves or converts, because they want to keep the purity of the kohanim. Rabbi Akiva, on the other hand, wants to convert as many people as possible, but he doesn't want the backlash from the Kohanim who would say, but I can marry this one, I can marry that woman. So he says that a Kohen can marry a convert. One more thing, another halacha, ger shenitgayer ben hagoyim. A man came and he says, I converted. Where did you convert? In North Korea. I'm saying North Korea, meaning there's no bedin in North Korea, right? Not that we know of. Right? The Pyongyang Val. We don't, it's not... Okay. He comes here and he says, I converted in North Korea. Okay, you can join our shul. For now, And then you see on Shabbat, he went and turned off he lit a cigarette on Shabbat. What are you doing? So, Monbaz, there's a mahloka between Rabbi Akiva and Monbaz, which by the name was also himself a convert. Monbaz Poter. One of the rabbis says, is Patur. Why? We don't have any official documents that this man is a convert. He says it. Why should we believe him? I mean, even if we believe him, it's not valid because it was not in front of Bedin. Rabbi Akiva, Mehayev. Rabbi Akiva says it's valid. Here's another example that Rabbi Akiva makes halacha. It has an amazing impact. If Rabbi Akiva says that people could convert within them with no bedin, and he sends the message to through the Jewish communities to the Roman world, so now you have, if you ask yourself what the fact that I mentioned before, which is corroborated by historians, that there were 2 to 10% of the Roman Empire were Jews. You say, who converted them? Where was the bedin? Imagine for the RCA to do that would take them 1,000 years. The process, the procedure, the papers, they have to pay for it. No, Rabbi Akiva just sends the word out. You want to convert? Go ahead and do it. If you come to us and you say, we accept you. So, bottom line of all that is that the Talmidim that we read about in the story are not students. They're not people who study Torah, but rather people who joined Judaism or joined the war under Rabbi Akiva. And even the number 12 or 24 is a classic number of exaggeration. Could have been that the specific number is less. Or that in general it refers to the war. When they say that all those people died from Pesach till Shavuot, they are referring to the war that took place at that time for a very simple reason. There's a famous Israeli song, but not anymore. Milhamot kvar lo korot b'choref. Wars, people don't conduct wars during the winter because of harsh conditions you can't fight. So most of the wars will take place springtime. Summer is too hot. The ideal time to wage war is in the spring. Winter, you hibernate. So to conclude, this is what happens. Rabbi Akiva, besides being a Talmid Chacham, is also a major leader, political leader, military leader, creates the campaign, converts people, creates the halachot to support this concept of conversion. And then, after the war fails, everybody is killed in this rebellion. For a couple of hundreds of years, people still mourn the warriors that fell in battle, but they cannot say it. They cannot go out and say, we mourn for our soldiers, because the government would say, oh, you're having, you're nourishing military hopes, you want to rise against us. So they cover up, they say it was a disease, it was a plague. But after the Gaonim, 7th, 8th century, most people don't do it. What happened is that in the 11th century, the Crusades took place exactly at the same time. Starting on Pesach and extending all the way after Shavuot till the 20th of Sivan. So now the new thing strengthened the old thing, and people started doing it, keeping the Omer a little more. But I'll talk about this in another opportunity.